4, 3, 2. Yo, da yo! It's Ouroboros, and today I wanted to talk about a mobile game I enjoy playing. And no, it's not Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not popular enough to be sponsored by them just yet. The game in the spotlight today is Fate Grand Order, or Fate Go for short. This game stems from a visual novel called Fate. Now, we don't have time to go over all of the Fate and Nasuverse lore, and if you want to watch a professional explain, then go watch Giguk's video. I'll have it linked. I'll give you a quick lowdown. Fate is a visual novel slash anime slash game where a minimum of 7 magical people called masters summon heroic people from across time and space called servants to fight each other over a magic cup called the Holy Grail that's split into 2 different cups, the Greater Grail and the Lesser Grail, but that's not important. Fate Go is slightly different, where only one master summons heroic spirits to fix things that went wrong in different points in time, called singularities. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the actual game itself. The real interesting point is the heroic spirit summoning system. In the Fate universe, there is a thing called the Throne of Heroes. This is where humans of legend and myth who have left a mark in history go after they die in order to be summoned later to fight for the Grail and make a wish. I'm not too sure how the throne decides who's worthy of going, because it's not like there's only heroes and good guys there. There's also morally twisted people. As I was playing the game, I managed to summon a servant that was rather interesting, and I did not recognize. It's an assassin called Charlette Corday.
召喚に応じ参上しました。アサシンシャルロット・コルデイです。一生懸命頑張りますけど、失敗したらごめんなさいね。
I guess I would help to explain that servants are summoned under one of a few different classes with exceptions. The classes are Saber, Lancer, Archer, Caster, Berserker, Rider, Ruler, Avenger, Foreigner, Alter Ego, Moon Cancer, Shielder, and Beast, with each of these classes accentuating a part of the summoned servant. Now, going back to Corday, I didn't actually know anything about her until I summoned her, and hell, I didn't even know anything about her afterwards until I started making the script for this video. After being summoned, she was a little bit of a downer, constantly saying she never really did anything in life to make her a hero. And that got me thinking, then why was she summoned? What made her special? And honestly, not just her, but a few others as well. So that's what brings me to the main point of the video. Why are they servants? I wanted to start a series where I delve into the real-life references of some of these, if not all of these, servants, hopefully bringing more attention to some of these lesser-known legends and myths. And we'll start with the Angel of Assassination, Charlette Corday. Charlette Corday's full name is Marie-Anne Charlette de Corday de Mont. That's really fucking long, so we'll just stick with Corday. Also, I apologize in advance. I'm going to butcher the hell out of all of these names. She was born on the 27th of July, 1768. Her mother was Marianne Jacqueline Guillard de Mesneval, and her father was Jacques Francois de Corday de Mont. She was a 5th generation member of a minor aristocratic family. While she was still very young, her family moved from the countryside to a town where her father had better opportunities for work. While being an aristocratic family, they were nowhere near wealthy. And shortly after the move, her older sister and her mother passed away. Unable to cope with the loss, her father had sent her and her younger sister to the school abbey Aux Dames in Sion. This is where Corday found the writings of Plotharo, Rousseau, and Voltaire, and I promise you these aren't Pokemon. These authors are what influenced Corday's views on politics and the such. She shared the view that the monarchy had to go in favor of a government run by the people, and that the monarchs were running the France into the ground. She agreed with the revolt against the monarchy, but with a non-violent approach. She believed in talking things out with the king to hopefully come to an agreement. During the French Revolution, there was 2 main factions, and they both have names, but I don't remember them. The non-aggressive side and the more aggressive side. Obviously, Corday sided with the non-aggressors. She loved listening to their speeches and reading their books as well as marching with them. She knew that France needed to be saved, but it needed to be in a peaceful manner, as violence just breeds more violence. The other side of the revolution wanted blood. More radical revolution. Kill all that oppose, essentially. A very important man on that side was a man named Jean-Paul Marat. Marat was a publisher of his own paper he titled Friend of the People, where he would publish all of his outlandish political views. After the unofficial fall of the French monarchy in 1792, 1 year before King Louis's execution, there was much paranoia and unrest in France. This led to a Persian threat to the French Revolutionary Army. They said that if the royal family was harmed, then the Persian army would invade. This led to a war between the Persian army and the French Revolutionary Army, where the Persians won in the First Battle of Verdun. Verdun has seen a lot of bloodshed as there was a second battle in World War I. This had a lot of consequences. One of the biggest was that it left France leaderless. With the monarchy gone and the fact that France was making a transition to a national convention, people were left without a leader. This power vacuum was exploited by the Paris Commune, now under the control of radicals like Georges Danton, Jean-Paul Marat, Jacques Herbert, and Fabre de Elegancine. The Commune declared a state of emergency, while the selectional assemblies of Paris went furthered. Demanding a popular insurrection and immediate action against suspected counter-revolutionaries, this was the cause of the September massacres, where on September 2nd, 1792, a gang of armed men ambushed a prison convoy headed to the Abbey prison. After killing all of the prisoners in the transport, the armed sans-culottes stormed the prison, killing everyone inside and proceeding to raid every prison in the city, killing an estimated 1,100 to 1,400 people. This included clergymen, royal guards, political prisoners, and hundreds of Swiss guard. However, most of the prisoners were common men in prison for petty crimes, such as causing a ruckus while drunk. These actions were encouraged by Jean-Paul Marat himself in his stupid Friend of the People paper. Corday believed this sort of thinking would bring France to a civil war. There was many men to blame for these acts of violence, but Corday singled out one. That was the Friend of the People himself, Jean. I think she desperately believed that his death would fix things. So on July 9th, 1793, a whole year after the September massacres, and 6 months after the execution of King Louis, which she disagreed with, she moved out of her cousin's home where she had been staying at, and left to Paris to stay at the Hotel de Providence. In the following days, she took her time admiring Paris, walking around. On one such occasion, she had stopped by a Home's Goods shop where she had purchased a 6-inch kitchen knife. After this, she spent several days writing a personal manifesto titled Address to French, Friends of Law and Peace, where she explains the details and the motivation for her assassination. She had originally planned to kill Jean in front of the National Convention. She had discovered that he had no longer gone to these meetings in person due to a kind of skin disorder. Forced to change her plans, she went to his home on the 13th of July in the morning, claiming to have knowledge on a planned uprising in Sienne, but was turned away by Catherine Connard, the sister of Marat's fiancée. Undismayed, she had returned that same afternoon where she was let in. Their meeting was held in the bathroom where he took most of his meetings. Because of his skin disorder, he had spent a lot of time in the tub. She disclosed the names of the anti-revolutionaries. Jean-Paul said they would face the guillotine, and as he set the paper down, Corday took out the 6-inch knife she had hid in her dress and stabbed him. He cried out, "Adieu moi, mon cher ami. Help me, my dear friend." His friends rushed to his aid, where Corday was arrested, and apparently 2 neighbors, a military doctor and a dentist, attempted to revive him to no avail. After she had 360 tomahawked him and was arrested, he was put on trial for her obvious murder of Marat, as if there was any doubt that she was the one that turned him into Swiss cheese. She was pronounced guilty on the 16th of July after being examined by 3 revolutionary judges, and before she was to be executed, her portrait was painted. And finally, on the 17th, she was executed by guillotine, where she had spoke her last words to the crowd. I have killed 1 man to save 1,000. The following weeks, nothing really changed. The violence continued in the streets, and it seemed that her sacrifice was in vain. But that's the thing about history, is that it's all retrospect. John Paul Marat's death meant that his party was severely weakened. It was pushed out by the people he once was the friend of. Can't exactly say that this was directly affected of her assassination, but it sure looks that way. This is why Marianne de Corday Delmont was chosen the Throne of Heroes, because of one simple assassination. I'm not at liberty to say whether or not she did the right thing. I can say at the very least that she stood by her ideals, whether right or wrong. Maybe that's why she was chosen. Anyway, that was the story of the French Angel of Assassination. I really enjoyed doing this kind of research and making this kind of video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. Thank you for everything. A few afterwards, a couple of things that I found maybe funny or interesting about this one is that the executioner that took Corday's life grabbed her head out of the basket and slapped her on her cheek. He was arrested and put in jail for 17 years for this offense. And after her burial, she was dug up and had her head passed around from person to person for years. Lastly, her portrait was painted with her having a white powdered wig, but on her passport, she was said to have chestnut hair, and apparently she was very beautiful. Now I want to leave you with a letter that she had wrote to her father. This was intercepted before her execution and read out loud. This essentially marked that she was the only one that was a part of this assassination, and that it was premeditated. The letter reads, "Forgive me, my dear Papa, for having disposed of my existence without your permission. I have avenged many innocent victims. I have prevented many other disasters. The people, one day disillusioned, will rejoice in being delivered from a tyrant. If I tried to persuade you that I was passing through England, it was because I had hoped to keep it incognito, but I recognized the impossibility. I hope you will not be tormented. In any case, I believe that you would have defenders in Cien. I took Gustave Dosset as my defender. Such an attack allows no defense. It's for the form. Goodbye, my dear Papa. Please forget me, or rather rejoice in my fate. The cause is good. I kiss my sister, whom I love with all my heart, as well as all of my parents. Do not forget this verse by Corneille. Crime is shame, not the scaffold. It is tomorrow at 8 o'clock that I am judged, the 16th of July."